Hello, welcome in the session. You try to detect mimikatz. Sit down, sit down, sit down. So let me introduce myself. So I'm Vincent Le Toux. I'm working on the management field, so not blue team, not red team. You know, the guy which manage budget, set the priorities, and so on. I've made the Pink Castle tool, which is very useful to assess an Active Directory. And because I will speak about mimikatz, I will highlight that even if I am not the author of mimikatz, when you start mimikatz now, you can see my name. So I'm happy to have some contribution, but if you have some specific question dedicated to mimikatz, please find its author. It's hidden, he is hidden in the room. So you can play for searching Waldo, chercher Charlie en français, and my nick handle. So when I was traveling in many conferences, I managed to see a vendor which was claiming he was stopping mimikatz. So because I'm very professional, I don't want to blame any vendor. I did it, but maybe I should give a hint about what is this vendor. And I was surprised that this vendor claims 1 year he stopped mimikatz, and the second year it didn't. So that's very strange. But let's put let's start with a short demo, and I can show you quickly how you can detect mimikatz. So I will start with my demo. This is Windows 7. I know I didn't patch it. This is my lab, and I'm going to start mimikatz. You will see something. Pay attention. Did you see it or not? No. You don't need to look at the screen. This is a trap. You need to look at this. So you see, this is a busy light. And each time you launch mimikatz, you see I'm stopping it, up, starting it again, stop. It's very difficult, huh? But because we have English people here, I'm going to switch the keyboard, to switch to US, up, up, up. I think this is the one. Course. And you see, this is a French flag. So thank you, Benjamin. So I have to switch back into French because else my demo will be difficult with my French keyboard again. I will stop this slide. Okay. So let's back to my slides. Okay, so I will start with a basic question: what is mimikatz? Because we see vendor, we see blue teamer, we see red teamer, and no, I think it's very difficult to know what is mimikatz. So you have no excuses at all. Because the MITRE has put a tool and a framework named Attack. And you have an explorer in which you can select a tool. So in this case, mimikatz, and every attack is highlighted. So it's very easy to know what mimikatz is doing. But because maybe it's too complex, I will simplify it. So I've built a word cloud based on the unofficial mimikatz documentation, because the official documentation is the code, huh, Benjamin? And based on this word cloud, you can see that it's speaking about credentials, Kerberos, etc., etc. But it's maybe too complex, so I will simplify it. I think there is 3 different areas. The first one is to extract password from memory, the famous module Securesa Logon passwords. You have a second area which is about hacking remotely the Active Directory. So you have the DC sync attack, you have the golden ticket, you have some attacks, but basically you hack remotely the Active Directory. And then the last one, it's about many things Benjamin tried. For example, accessing the private key of a certificate, or change the background screen of a computer, a request of mine. So the difficulty is that if you want to stop mimikatz, you have to stop every techniques. I have a funny example. And this example is about the golden ticket to understand what's going on the field. So Benjamin was at Black Hat 5 years ago, not with me, and he was presenting with the call, the golden ticket attack. So basically, you have a secret into the Active Directory, which is used to build your credentials. And if you know this secret, you can be anyone you want in the Active Directory. So that's basically the attack. So you can see the reaction in the security community. So at the left, you have a security bulletin made by the CERT EU. You have a security bulletin then made by the ANSSI, the French authorities, 1 year later. The same from Germany. So we can see that on the field we have a watch, at least in Europe. And I was asking myself if it is the case in the US. So I'm just a foreigner. I use Google. So I was searching in the CertUS database, nothing. I was searching in the CertCC, in the MyTree, Golden Ticket, you can Google it, and nothing. Is that because it's not a vulnerability? I mean, there is no CVE code, or because they just miss it? So, Googling, because Google is your friend, not every time, but you can use it. I find this document on WikiLeaks, and I was quite surprised, because you can see that this document is secret. He was doing analysis on the CertU presentation that I'll talk a few minutes ago. He was then analysis a slide deck from the RSA conference. And the result is that there is no technical details, it cannot be used, and we don't know how to do it. But I'm sure you have missed the problem here. The bulletin was talking about the RSA conference, while Benjamin did a talk at the Black Hat conference. And when we are looking at the RSA conference details, you can see a lot of redacted strings. So it's very difficult indeed to exploit. But they didn't look at the Black Hat presentation. So first, this is one of the problems we got. We have the wrong information flow. So, okay, I'm part of the management. I have to explain what I'm going to do to block mimikatz, because we hear every time. So, okay, I'm part of the management. We have bought an antivirus, and I think this is a good tool to stop mimikatz. So first, mimikatz is not a virus. So antivirus, anti-mimikatz, no, it's not the same. So in this example, I have took the first official version of mimikatz. I've put it into VirusTotal, and I was looking at the antivirus detection. So you can see that almost all antivirus detect mimikatz. So, on my opinion, on my management opinion, an antivirus is an effective way to stop mimikatz. But while I was preparing this presentation, I was surprised because in my computer I got this old version of mimikatz, and my antivirus isn't able to detect it. You can see it. I scan the directory. There is no alert. So you can find some problem with the antivirus, because they blacklist specific files, but over the time the number of files blacklisted increased, and they have to do some cleaning. So, in my opinion, And the antivirus, you have a small database of malware, which doesn't include the old version of mimikatz, and you need to use the cloud version of the tools to be able to check it. So it's difficult. And then I think if the antivirus were 100% effective, we won't have this discussion right now. So because you don't have a tool, maybe it's time to do it yourself, to look more deeply into this problem. I think when you start from you want to solve a problem, you have to start with the beginning. And my idea is that you cannot win the Tour de France if you don't know how to ride a bike. So you need to start slowly, make progress, improve, etc., etc. So I will finish my management part with how does a CISO detect mimikatz. So you will understand what's work on the management side. You need to do a 3 steps methodology. You pick a framework, you add a watch, you connect a big box, and you're done. Hopefully in Europe, we love frameworks, we love administration, bureaucracy, you name it, and we have plenty of frameworks. So the frameworks are very good. There's many questions, so okay. You need to have a watch. Okay, so you have your national certs. We have good one in Europe. And if you are a newbie and you want to start an Active Directory, my advice is and if you want to follow only one person on Twitter, you can follow Sean Metcalf. I was trying to make a list of interesting Active Directory leaders, but with that, I was adding too much name, and it was very difficult. So thanks to Sean again, he is maintaining a list of people to follow. So if you want to do it, it's very easy for you. And you need a box. What about a theme? And you know the box. You send events, you get alerts. It's correlation, it's magic, it's big data, artificial intelligence, and then you detect mimikatz. But in reality, the framework are good, they are explicit, but we miss a lot of data. I mean, I was trying to look at the points I was covering in Pink Castle, and I was surprised that many basic problems cannot be found in frameworks. For example, if you are using a weak certificate for your internal PKI, you don't have a specific point to check for it. They don't talk about changing the KRBTGT password, which is supposed to be good. So, what do you think? You think that the new attacks are covered automatically because you pay for maintenance, you pay for support, you pay for new rules. But in practice, you have an increase of 30% of your EPS, so money. You detect only brute force attack, which is not the way Active Directory is attacked right now. You collect logs, but my question is very simple. Which log do you collect? I mean, Microsoft did a reference about what logs you need to collect, but it's very difficult. And you have no link between, okay, this is this attack, this is this log you have to collect, this is this config file you have to apply to be able to have your SIM which is working. So in short, you got no mimikatz detection. And if you rely on compliance, I think you must feel secure right now, because if you look at the report, you can see that you will look only at disable accounts or some change, but at least no mimikatz detection. You have plenty of frameworks, and it is the same. So in short, frameworks are structured, so you can show the progress to your management, but it do not cover all the attack. The watch covers advanced topic. For example, the new attack, everything I will show after in this conference, you can find it on Twitter, but you will not find the basics. And the theme, it process logs, but you don't know if this is the right logs, and there is nothing about the rules. You just buy the vendor ones, and that's all. Okay. So that was my management part. So you know how CISO feel, how it thinks, and I think it's very difficult. So the CISO needs to get help from technical people. And in this area, we will fix on the we will zoom on the credential theft. So Benjamin loved to play with Microsoft. And when he was releasing these tools in Windows 7, the Microsoft reaction was that mimikatz is a post-exploitation tool, and this is not a vulnerability. Indeed, Microsoft was referring to the 10 immutable laws of security, which explains that if you are admin, if you give admin rights to your computer to someone else, you're not the admin anymore. So in Windows 8.1, okay, mimikatz is bad, we can find password very easily, we have to fix it. So Microsoft started to implement some things, for example, the restricted admin mode or LSR protection, etc., etc. And then in Windows 10, you have more and more protection, for example, a credential guard, which puts credentials into a secure container. And okay, so the credential leaks position is evolving. We can see also on the field that there is a new way to prevent the mimikatz run. So on the top left, you can see a screenshot of the Mr. Robot show, which is a very good series. And the hacker, you see, it runs mimi.exe, privilege debug, then Kerberos pass the ticket with a ticket. So because in so much tutorial mimikatz needs debug privilege to run, I think it's very easy to remove the debug privilege to administrator, and then we can block mimikatz. I think this is a very good idea. Run it a system. And I'm trying to make a table for protection measure. I won't go into the detail. The idea is to show the color. So you can see on the left part, you have the requirements. So most of the security measures are applied up to Windows 7. So you patch it and you can use it. Except for credential guard, which requires Windows 10 Enterprise. Why do you need the Enterprise version? And on the right, the color depends on your functional requirements and the difficulty to apply it on the field. So for example, you want to prevent the credential to be sent remotely to a server, so you can apply it, there is no impact, okay, it's done. You can use the protected user group. Okay, you put the setting, it's done. But then, if you want to prohibit the execution of code in LSR ss.exe, you need to sign everything that will be loaded into LSR ss.exe. So if you have just a vanilla computer, that's okay. But in the real world, you have password filters to synchronize the passwords. You have third-party module. When you have smart card, you need to whitelist the smart card driver. So it starts to be very complex to implement. And the last one, which is credential guard, is very effective. It can be bypassed, but not this way. But in terms of requirements, you need to have a secure boot. You need to enable the virtualization, so you cannot use VMware. and you need to have an enterprise version, so it's difficult. So the most effective way to not block but to decrease the efficiency of mimikatz requires so much things. So I'm going to be a little more technical. So in the command mindset, every credential is stored in a process named lsiss.exe. So if you are able to read the memory of this process, you are able to extract the secret. So for example, what is doing mimikatz? You can inject a DLL, you can just use copy the memory, and with the debug privilege, you can grab the credentials. But this is not the only way to get the credential. You have what we call the security package. Kerberos and TLM is one of the security package. You have authentication package, which is quite the same, but it's only for interactive authentication. You have password filters. So every of these techniques is known. So on the left, you have what people think. Okay, you block it. This is what antivirus thinks about mimikatz. On the middle, you have what we call mimilib, which can do it. And on the right, you have also different way to read the lsiss.exe, which is not known. So I'm the only one which is talking about that. So you have two ways. The first one is a smart card driver. So every time you use a smart card to log on, you put its driver into lsiss.exe, and you have sub-authentication package. So in short, if you just remove the debug privilege, that's not all. So no more speech, and time for a demo. So in this demo, because I hacked already the domain, in the domain controller, I installed a small DLL here, which is a mimilib, the new version of mimikatz. If you want to look at the code, it's so simple that you can read it in Notepad. It's basically, okay, I'm here, do something, okay. So it's very complex and difficult to catch. And to install it, I've just have to change a registry key. So you can see it here. But you can also see that it is being used in many parts of the Windows operating system. So for example, it is used in IIS or for remote access. So I will show you what you can do when you have this kind of, okay, this kind of things installed. So I'm just a Lambda user. So you can see member of user. There is no admin here. If I want to start mimikatz, tab, it's not working. Oops, not CD. Oh, you see the light is on. So my detector is active. So you see, I'm not an admin, access denied. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to log on. Oops. Run as command standard. Okay, I have to exit mimikatz. My mistake. So you can see I'm able to log on. There is no magic. I'm still the user. You see, no admin, no admin, no admin. So what I'm going to do is to take 3 times a wrong password and then a right one. And now you see I'm admin. So you can play with it, but I mean, I have to do it differently. So I will start it again. 3 times false password. Okay, and this time I will connect to the DC, but when you connect, you use the ticket you have in cache. So I will need to have a clean session. That's why I'm adding net only. So you can see that the command wmi is not working anymore. You see, because I have no ticket yet. I have I didn't connect to the DC. So I'm starting mimikatz. Test user. Oh, the light is on again. tech.ac.com. You can see it's working. But you know, when you are typing 3 times the wrong password, maybe it's too loud. So I will change my passwords to a well-known one was the 1234/admin, because I love to be admin. Was the done. So I will log off. Was 1234/admin. Who am I? Oh, I'm admin. So you can see that when you are able to inject code in lsiss.exe, you can do many evil stuff. But you need to take a wider view, because you focus only on lsiss.exe, which can be considered as a gold mine. But if you want to look for gold in the environment, you have other places to do it. For example, in the river, and you have many ways to grab credentials. So I have the meme. This one, if you want the joke. I don't want out position. I want so you're in. So I will show you other way to grab credentials. So I have a smart card because I'm a very secure guy. So this is a basic Java card. I have put an applet on it, which is named GIDS. You can go on my GitHub. It's open source. And with this applet, I'm able to transform this cheap card into a real smart card, and expensive. It doesn't require any driver, and I can use it. So I will show you a different way to catch the pin. So with this program that I'm starting. So because I'm admin, I can run it. So this program injects a driver between the hardware and the operating system, and the program is looking at the command sent to the smart card. So it's completely invisible. So I will check quickly how you can read a smart card. So Certutil is a well-known tool to play with PKI, and you can use it to access smart card. Cannot find a smart card reader. That's a demote effect. That's because it's not connected. That's why you have to test before doing a demo. Okay, so the card is here. I put my smart card. And you can see that it has detected that there is a smart card here. So I will run certutil, and I will run my pin to look at the certificate. You can look at the right that you have the pin code. So this is the exact command used to send the pin. So connect, use this one, etc., etc. But if I'm entering a wrong pin, you see, you can also detect it. So you see the pin here tested and a failure. So because I don't want to block my smart card, I will wait it. So LSISS is not the only place to capture a pin. Okay, so no more smart cards. I will show you another way. Everything is on my GitHub. So the idea behind this attack is to reproduce the network authentication. I mean, when you are using Internet Explorer, you want to connect to a service, you have a crypto exchange which authenticates you, but you can do it locally. In the recent operating system, you have an optimization which avoids the disclosure of this secret. So what I'm doing is I capture the exchange, I just reset a flag, and then I got the exchange response. And because I got this exchange response, I'm able to test every password I want to see if it is the right one. So I can type anything. You see, I can type anything. Very secret. This is a keylogger. This is a keylogger 5. And then in the middle, I'm typing the CPAIR secret password. Whether123/4/admin. And anything. And you see, the program has been able to find the password. So we are not in lsiss.exe, we are not admin, and just with that, we are able to collect the local user password. So we are going to try to understand what mimikatz is doing on an Active Directory. So I've tried to make a simple way of how mimikatz is doing. Basically, with the previous chapter, you collect a password, then you become domain admin. And with that, you use one of the attack named dcsync. You grab the KBTGT password, and then you build your golden ticket factory. Then you are able to own the domain. You can be anyone you want. It's invisible. So this is how it is explained in conference. But on the field, it's more like that. I mean, you run mimikatz, you open the first Active Directory. Then, because you have linked with other domain, you have credentials, you have password reuse, you connect to a second domain as admin, and then you become admin, you grab the other key for the other domain, and you continue like that. The root cause behind that is that it's not about credential management, it's more about secret management. We have seen a presentation yesterday made by Julia about DPE API, and you have seen that you have a backup key used to recover your credential in case there is a crash. And you can maybe change the KRBTGT password, but this key, I don't know, you can change it. You have some password rotation, I mean, for the trust, for the admin, but because it's done automatically, you have no management on it. I mean, you miss something. The second problem is more about network segregation. I mean, on the field, I see that when you put a domain controller in the data center, you need to open the flow to every computer of the company because it has to do it to make it work. So very surprising. And because you have this network which is so wide open, that explains why a workstation can behave like a DC. And the last but not least, it's more about having an unknown trust relationship with domain. You may be surprised that there is only a few companies which know how much domains they have. So I think the Active Directory problem is much wider than that, and I don't think a SIM can be a good protection. And I'm going to demonstrate it to you. So I've made a tool which is named Pinkastle. It's very easy for assessments. You can do it for free in your company. There is no requirements. I'm not admin here. You can see it. So you see it's very difficult. You have to just select the first option. And because I want to show you that a domain can see can have that you can see much. Don't care, don't mind. But I will redo my demo. So I will run Pinkastle on my domain. I will run Pinkastle on the domain I can connect, and we will see what a normal user can see. Okay, so Pinkastle has made the individual report. So you see you have your report management like red, yellow, green. So the management the things here, but it's not my point. So when you are using Pinkastle like that, it's building automatically a map. So you can see that we are in the techlc.com. So this is the domain we are here. So this domain is part of a forest, lc.com, so nothing new, you can guess it. You can detect that it has a trust with it.fabricam.com, and because it has a trust, you can connect to it. But because you know that this domain is part of a forest, you're able to detect that it belongs to fabricam.com. And then you can abuse the location service to be able to guess what other domain it have. So for example, we can see that it has a trust with the cototso.com forest, which has also another domain. And you can see the unidirectional trust to a bastion. So this is all my VM here. And you can see that you have a nice map. So I will, oops, I shouldn't have done that. Badly. I will just move the window here. So you can see the map, the trick. So I will use one of the advanced features of Pinkastle, which is to list the foreign user of a domain. So I want to go to this domain, which is very, very far away. So sec.contoso.com. And I need to connect to a server which is the closest to this one. So in this case, this is it.fabricam.com. Okay, done. So what we have asked is we are here. We have connected to it.fabricam.com. We ask him to solve some SID. So this domain has connected to this one, which has connected to this one, which has connected to this one, and then he has performed the name resolution. So you have a nice file here where you can see all the domain, all the users of that domain. But it's even worse because this technique is working on Bastion when you have a unidirectional trust. So I want to get here, bastion.fabri. And I need to use this one between because this is the closest one. Okay, done. So you have seen that I was able to list all the users of my super secured bastion. And the way it's working is that you may have a firewall here, it will still work because it will take. It is a feature of the trust. It's not a bug; it's a feature. So okay, this talk is about trying to detect mimikatz, and until now we're just explaining that you can't. So how can we detect mimikatz? This is a simple question. So my answer is very simple. I think the rule number one is to accept that you can't detect mimikatz. I mean, there is plenty of attacks, plenty of new attacks. And you have also other tools which perform these attacks. So good luck, you have plenty of work to block Benjamin work, but this is only with the GitHub version. I think the rule number two is to apply the auto recommendation because I was discussing with Benjamin, I was still surprised that Benjamin has made Yarba rule to spot the specific way mimikatz capture credentials, memory allocation, etc., etc. And I'm surprised that antivirus, in my opinion, doesn't apply this kind of rules. If you look at on Twitter, you can see that Benjamin has made the simple version of mimikatz on Earth. This is just .exe with minimum of code. The main is return. But what Benjamin has made is that it has put the icon of mimikatz, it has put just the version, and that's all. If you want, if this is how the antivirus is catching mimikatz, only using the icon or the description. About DC5, I'm still surprised that there is no detection, and the first written way of detecting DC-sync using logs has been made by Benjamin. And I think the rule number 3 is that you want to detect mimikatz, but you don't know even your scope. I'm still surprised to see that companies, they don't know how much ID they have. They cannot list the open shares when you have password on it. They have workstation where everyone is a local admin. And you can have even MS 17-010 unpatched, and I'm surprised by it. So my advice is to use my tool to do the work. And in conclusion, right on time, I think, this is my personal opinion, I think that mimikatz is a brand. That means that you cannot fight an image. Mimikatz, we talk a lot in this conference. I think you already heard the name of Mimikatz a few times during these few days. So it's very difficult to find an image. And we made during this talk that you just try to embed Mimikatz in program, but you can extract the code from Mimikatz and build your own attack tool. And Defender think that when you use mimikatz, you use mimikatz as a wall, and it's not the case on the field. That's why you missed it. So, in conclusion, maybe you should try to understand the attack behind the tool rather to block it without understanding what it's doing. Thank you.